Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to Coffee with Cal on the Back Deck. I love my coffee, and I love my coffee cup. I've had this cup for a long time, and it's a little bit sacred to me. So anyways, I started to talk to you last week about being intentional. And if we're going to be real influencers in the lives of our kids and our grandkids, we have to learn skills and competencies that would allow us to be effective in doing that. It doesn't just happen. We talked about the 8 different things that John Maxwell talks about in his book about reasons why we don't become intentional and the importance of trying to look at those and address them and help us to become really more impactful. So my mission is to see 1 million guys in North America who will commit themselves to becoming the primary influencers and primary disciple makers in the lives of their grandkids. But let's go back to this whole idea of being intentional. Very little happens unless you actually determine to make it happen. There's very few things that actually bring transformation unless we set a mission and an objective to get that done. As far as helping them to become fully devoted followers of Jesus, we just have to take steps towards getting privilege and access to having that kind of influence. So I'm going to talk about this morning, just very quickly, 10 simple tricks that will help you to gain that kind of influence and kind of favor in their lives. The first one is, I'm going to say this: we have to get out of our comfort zone. Most of us have gotten to an age where, we enjoy our lifestyle, we enjoy the freedoms, and we enjoy the sort of our routines and all of those kinds of things. But if we're going to become influencers in the lives of our kids and become primary disciple makers in their lives, we're going to have to get out of that comfort zone a little bit and realize that our kids have their own journey, they have their own interests, they have their own, and most of it means pushing us outside of our comfort zone. You have to decide that you're going to do something, be something, go somewhere that you actually didn't intend on. So that's the first thing. That might not be the simplest, but I do think that it is foundational to everything else. So the second thing is that I think we need to get to know the personalities of our grandchildren more specifically. There's so many tools and resources that are free and easy to find. John Trent and Gary Smalley have one that is built around the animals of the otter, the retriever, the lion, and the beaver. The lion is the strong, authoritative one. The beaver is the diligent, studious, focused, creative one. The otter, obviously, is the playful, chatty, talkative one. And the retriever is a relaxed, easygoing. Define what your children's and your grandchildren's primary personalities are, so that when you begin to work with them and walk with them, but the Bible says that they're fearfully and wonderfully made. They're all unique, they're all special, they all have their own certain ways of thinking and doing things, and it's important for us, if we're going to have influence, to understand what those things are. Are they introverts? Are they extroverts? How do they think? What is it that makes them unique? So the question is, do we really understand their personality, their uniquenesses? My challenge is that if you want to be effective in influencing them, you need to understand what that is. Now let's get into some of the more practical kinds of things. Here's one: regularly plan a date night. So with our kids, one family of kids, there's 5 of them, we do a thing where when we go to visit them, because we actually live quite a long ways from them, when we go them, we give each of them one special day. And on that day, they can pick what they want to eat for a meal. Do they want to go shopping? What kind of candy do they want to get? And we just hang out with them and let them do what they want to do, but it's all about them. So that's a date night. The next one is that I think that this is really important, is that we regularly plan a field trip. So where can you take them? What can you do? What can you involve them in that is just more than just hanging out for a day, but something special. It's going somewhere, it's doing something that is memorable and significant for them. Another one that is easy enough to do is to learn or demonstrate some kind of skill. Learn what it is that is actually special to them, but they don't yet know how to do it. Learn a skill and teach it to them. Help them to be a part of it. Help them experience it. I give an example of one of my little grandsons is letting them pull the trigger on a drill if I'm making something. And I'm helping them to understand what is it that they're actually participating in. Help them to learn a simple skill, but you need to learn one so that you can teach it. The next thing is learn to tell stories. I think more important than learning the structure of the story and how to tell a story is to actually create an inventory of your own stories. So your personal experiences, your personal experience with Jesus, Bible stories, history, funny things. Create an inventory of maybe 10 or 15 things in each different category. Be familiar with them so that when opportunity comes, you begin to tell them a story. Kids love stories. So learn to tell a story or create a story. One of the things that I like to do with one of my kids, actually there's two of them, one little girl and a little boy, is I'll get them involved in creating the story. My one little guy, he has a very strong opinion. He's very creative in his mind. And I'll say, so this character went off and did this. No, Papa, I didn't do that. He did this. And so I'll change the story and I'll say, okay, this happened or that happened. And as we go through, they interject their thoughts and make it silly and make it fun for them. And we tell a story and we walk through, and it can go on for a long time, but it's very meaningful to them because they're helping to create that story. So there's a number of different ways of telling stories, but I think the simplest thing that we can do as grandfathers is actually creating a story inventory, having it available to us so that in quick recollection, we can pull one of those stories out and begin to tell it, and the kids just absolutely love it, and then even involve them in creating that story. The next thing is that we need to learn to ask open-ended questions. You know, we lots of times have the inclination towards telling them what we think they should know, when in fact what we really need to do, any good coaching step or coaching principle is asking questions. So a simple question like, could you tell me about? What would happen if? What did you do when? Open-ended questions help them to collect their thoughts and their perceptions and communicate them, and just continue to ask those questions, and it allows for really engaging conversation, and you'll learn a ton about them, and it gives you great opportunity to influence them in meaningful ways. So number 8 is to do something crazy and fun. So during Halloween, we go out and spend time with some of our grandkids, and my wife has this crazy Winnie the Pooh outfit, and the bigger kids think that it's silly, the smaller kids think that it's funny. We make a big deal out of this whole thing, and it really helps to build bridges, but there's all kinds of crazy things that you can come up with. Let your imagination guide you, and remember that the purpose of this is always to have influence. It's always to build relationship. It's always to grow in our influence and our impact in their lives. So the number 9 thing is that we need to play their games. Boys always like to wrestle and rumble and blow things up and smash things that the girls put together. The girls want to have a tea party, and they want to do makeup, and they want to, have fun kinds of things around that. So my challenge is play their games. Find out what they like to do and play that. That usually means getting down on the floor or getting into a position that is less than normal and comfortable, but it's just an amazing way to gain influence. It's about being intentional around the idea of how do we become a primary disciple maker and influencer in their lives. And the last one is to involve them, and this means getting outside of your comfort zone as well, in some kind of serving others ministry. Might be a simple thing like seeing somebody that has one of those signs that says I'm homeless, and giving them some money, giving them some food, caring for them. Maybe it's volunteering at a soup kitchen. Maybe it's just cutting the neighbor's grass. Doing something that is service towards others oriented and help them to realize that life is not just about them. But again, it's a simple way to involve and engage them in meaningful activity that provides you access into their personal lives. Get out of your comfort zone, learn their personalities clearly, regularly plan a date, regularly work on creating some kind of interesting field trip, learn and demonstrate some kind of a skill, and help them learn it, teach them how to do it. Learn to tell stories, create a story inventory, learn to ask open-ended questions, do something crazy and fun. They remember that stuff. Play their games, find out what it is that they like to play and initiate that and participate in it. And then involve them in some kind of service-oriented activity or ministry. It's all about being intentional. It's all about learning. What is it going to look like? What is it going to take to actually have influence in their lives? Remember, we're talking about establishing foundations in their lives so that when we're dead and gone, the Spirit of God and the person of Jesus is so real to them that they recognize that whatever the world in which they live in directs their way, they're able to stand on the truth of the gospel, their faith in Jesus Christ, and their ability to set the direction and change the course of history by just simply taking a stand for God. Listen, as this goes on to the YouTube channel, goes on to social media, Facebook, if you haven't subscribed yourself, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you know others who would benefit from the things that we talk about, and would be interested in joining us in this journey of becoming primary influencers and primary disciple makers in the lives of our kids, would you invite them to also subscribe to our YouTube channel? I really appreciate comments and thoughts and insights and questions and input from you. So on the comment category below, if you could like the video if you liked it or make comments about it, that's a big help to me, and I appreciate it as we grow this mission towards becoming men of faith who will be committed to the influence and the disciple making of their own children and grandchildren. God bless. Have a great day.